Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Anarchy Road Season 2. This is our series of Necromunda Ashways battle reports, and this is battle report number 9. This is a cargo run scenario that is fought between my two friends, Sister Serial as well as Lady Domina. Lady Domina is playing her gang, the Flesh Carnivals, which is a Slanesh Helot Chaos Cult, and my friend Sister Serial will be playing the precinct, the main force patrol, the MFP, main force patrol of the Badzone Enforcers. So the Badzone Enforcers will be the defenders in this scenario, while the Chaos Cultists will be the attackers, and my friend Sister Serial has to take a cargo run across the ash wastes into the end zone and try to transport those things without being destroyed by the Helot Chaos Cultists. So it should be a very interesting scenario, to say the least. So that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. As my friends are, music is playing in the background, we will show you photos as well as rosters of my friends' gangs as well as their rosters. If you want to see exactly what they're taking for this scenario, go and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So, the scenario rules for this one is Cargo Run. The type is a Rolling Roads battle report, and the player who chooses the scenario is the attacker while the other is the defender. So in this situation, Sister Serial is the defender while Lady Domina is the attacker. Both gangs get their entire rosters, and starting with the gang with the highest gang rating, take alternating turns deploying within 12 inches of the trailing edge. No model can be placed within 1 inch of an enemy model. Now, if you decide to do gang tactics, you get 2 gang tactics card per player, plus 1 tactic for each 100-point difference between your gang ratings. My friends and I don't do gang tactics, so we're not going to worry about that. And the victory condition is if the attacker destroys the vehicle carrying the cargo, then the winner, otherwise the defender wins. Now, the Rolling Roads rule is in effect, and the defender designates 1 vehicle to carry the cargo. Now, for the dangerous road conditions, at the start of the second round and each round after, defender rolls a d6 as a turn number to see if they reach their destination. On a 10 plus, this round is the last round of the battle. At the same time, before rolling, defender must determine the route they will take, add the route's bonus to the roll. So on a 0, they have open battlefield, open sides. +1, they have battlefield as cliff sides. On a +2, the battlefield has cliff sides with ash crest, and if any vehicles move less than 8 inches, they fall through and go out of action, and you roll for lasting injuries and lasting damage. And on a 3+, you get impossible sides on fire. Take a blaze test for all models, and all vehicles must take a loss control test at the end of their activation. Now for the awards in this one, whoever wins earns 46 times 10 credits, and for experience, you earn 1 point of experience for participant and +1 experience point for the vehicle carrying the cargo if it survives. For reputation, the winner earns D3 points reputation, and if any gang bottles out, they suffer 1 point reputation as well. So with the scenario rules over with, let's talk about deployments. So starting off with the Badzone Enforcers of the main force patrol, on the left hand side there on the bottom, that vehicle is called the March Hare. That vehicle is a medium custom vehicle that is tracked with extra armor, transport bed, smoke vents, nitro burners, all-wheel steering, tire claws, as well as harpoon launchers. And on board that vehicle are 2 characters as well. First of all, we have Tasha XV88, who is a Badzone Sergeant who's got armored undersuit, layered flak armor, sniper rifle with a stub gun with dum-dum rounds, manacles, and the fast shot ability. And right beneath them, of course, is another character named Punisher Keel, which is a Badzone patrolman. They got armored undersuit, mesh armor, enforcer shotgun with salvo shredded rounds, stub gun with dum-dum rounds, manacles, as well as a broken supply line rules for their shotgun. Now, right beneath them, of course, are 2 enlisted hive scum named Boyle and Azmat. They're both equipped exactly the same with mesh armor, sawn-off shotguns, flail, blasting charges, waster's dirt bike, as well as the expendable special rule. And on the top of the deployment area, we have another vehicle called the Big Bopper. It is a scum racer with a tracked medium vehicle with extra armor, transport bed, smoke vents, natural burner, all-wheel steering, tire claws, as well as a harpoon launcher. And on board that vehicle, we have two other characters named Garavas, which is a Badzone sergeant. That fighter is equipped with armor undersuit, layered flak armor, concussion carbine with stub gun with dum-dum rounds, manacles, as well as a fast shot ability. And then right next to him, of course, is Darko D111, another Badzone patrolman. Darko D111's got an armor undersuit, mesh armor with Enforcer bolt gun, stub gun with dum-dum rounds, manacles, as well as broken supply line rules for their bolt gun. And then on the top there, we got two more enlisted Hive Scoff. We have Foth as well as Darrows. They're equipped exactly the same with mesh armor, sawn-off shotguns, flails, blasting chargers, wasters, dirt bikes, as well as the Expendo special rule. And that pretty much makes a deployment for my friend, Sister Serial. So moving on to deployment for my friend Lady Domino on the very bottom for the Flesh Carnival. That vehicle is called the Bleakbane. It is a scum racer with a bridge runner, equipped with a mining laser. It's also got the wheeled and transport area special rule. And on board that vehicle, we have a couple of characters. First of all, we have Kalisa the Hitherblade, who is a cult witch. She's got ash armor, chainsaw with auto pistol, two chaos familiars. There is Psyker with the Inured Insanity special rule, as well as a fixture skill, as well as a dark shield power. Also on that vehicle is Racked Laces, which is a Chaos Spawn level 2. And at the same time, we also have, another character named Creep Hook, who is a Helot Cultist armed with auto pistol as well as an axe. And that makes the deployment here on the bottom of the screen. Making up the center deployer for Lady Domina is a vehicle called the Sidle Flare. It is a scum racer who drives a ridge runner with mining laser. It's also got the wheeled and transport area special rule. And on board that vehicle is Cathanarok the Doomcaller, who's the Cult Demagogue. That fighter's got mesh armor, flamer, auto pistol, as well as a chaos familiar. They have a cult icon, as well as a devotion and Inured to Insanity special rules, and they have the commanding presence skill as well. Also on that vehicle is a Helot Cultist specialist named Kalail of Raptures. They got mesh armor, flamer, auto pistol, as well as a specialist. And we have Dry Kalasi as well as Dreth of the Pale. They're both Helot Cultists armed with auto pistols as well as axes. And rounding up the last Lady Domina's deployments, first of all, I'll start with the yellow one. The yellow vehicle is called Silver Chains. It is a scum racer who drives a ridge runner with mining laser, wheeled, as well as a transport area special rules. And on board that vehicle are two characters. We have Skarark as well as Ravar. They're both Helot Cultists armed with auto pistols, as well as axe, as well as an auto gun and a knife. And then right beneath them, that pink colored one is called the, let's see here, it looks like it's called the Crimson Thorn. It is a scum racer who drives a ridge runner with a mining laser. It's got wheeled as well as transport area special rules. And on board that vehicle are two more fighters. We have Dirac the Night Flayer, which is a cult disciple. That fighter's got mesh armor, grenade launcher with frag and crack grenade, auto pistol, chaos familiar, Inured Insanity special rule, as well as Overwatch skill. And then also on that vehicle too is Splintered Mask, which is a Helot Chaos Cultist with an auto gun and a knife. And that pretty much makes a deployment for this one. So for these battle plans for this one, my friend Sister Serial, her plan is actually quite simple. My friend Sister Serial's plan, as she said, is to take her vehicles, run as quickly as she can across the battlefield, and try to survive as much as possible. As you can see, the battlefield's got some very large terrain pieces scattered throughout the bout. We got the Lonesome Road above, as well as the Parkway Community Apartments building, the Main Force Patrol Precinct House, as well as the Crown Complex. So what's going to happen is she's going to try to weave her way through without being damaged. She's going to have this vehicle take point while she has her other vehicle take protect from the 6 o'clock position, and then have her wasters on dirt bikes engage enemy vehicles. Now as for my friend Lady Domina, she actually has quite a bit of advantage on this one as the attacker. What she has to do is wreck one of these vehicles, and all four of her ridge runners that she has for her vehicles, all four of them have mining lasers on them, so because they can cause a lot of damage and cause some crippling damage as well as the vehicles, and they could just swarm upon my friend Sister Serial. So my friend Sister Serial has a lot of work cut out for her, and my friend Lady Domina actually has the numbers advantage on this one. The only thing she's got to worry about, my friend Lady Domina, that is anyways, is that she can be bottlenecked if she's not careful, just because there's kind of cramped conditions on this battlefield and she has a lot of vehicles. So that's the thing she has to worry about the most. So with battle plans over with, my friends go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both of them will roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. We'll be right back after that. So we're back on the top of turn number 1, and my friend Sister Serial managed to get the initiative on this one, so she will be going first. The first thing she does, she activates the March Hare, which is the medium vehicle that does have the cargo on it. She decides to just basically go full throttle, move up forward 15 inches from the starting line, moving up triple their movement of downlines, using double action to do so. And so because she's kind of trying to take the lead as she's weaving through this vehicle over here. Meanwhile, back over here, my friend's Lady Dawn decides to do a group activation with Kalasa the Hitherblade, her cult witch, who does a group activation with I forgot his name, Racked Laces, the Chaos Spawn, that's right. Now, Rack-Lace the Chaos Spawn does a couple things. First of all, Dry Kaleski, the Kailasa, the Hitherblade, she does basic action, get her spell off Dark Shield. So that way this vehicle over here, which is called the Bleakbane, gets +1 to his armor save, as well as one of her Chaos Cultists as well as her Cult Witch, as well as the Spawn as well. Now, Racked Laces does a double action to charge off the vehicle directly into this fighter. That fighter's name is Boyle, and actually tries to attack him, but unfortunately just whiffs his attack and doesn't do anything at all. Now, Boyle, of course, does a counterattack back, while his reaction attack isn't able to do anything to it, and that pretty much makes it that first turn over here. Meanwhile, over here, the Big Bopper, which is another vehicle over here from Sister Serial, it also burns rubber as well and takes off directly down the track, tripling its movement allowance as well, trying to escape. Now from over here we have Cathanarok the Pain Song, which is Lady Domina's leader. Now Cathanarok the Pain Song does activates the vehicle, the Saddle Flare. The Saddle Flare does a double action to go forward and to ram these two players over here. These guys' names are Darrows as well as Thoth on their name. Managed to put a flesh wound directly onto Thoth, but does nothing to Darrows, so they're both relatively okay, and that vehicle moves forward to do his double action move forward. Meanwhile, Sister Sarah then goes back over here with her other fighter. That character's name is Azmat. Azmat takes his sawed-off shotgun, does a basic action aim, another basic action and fire this sawed-off shotgun directly into Rack Laces. Managed to put a wound on him as well as to pin him as well. And that pretty much makes up the turn 1 activations so far. We'll be right back for the rest of the activations after this. Alright, so going back with the team on the round, my friend Lady Dama then activates the Crimson Thorn, which is this vehicle over here, and it also burns through, also goes full throttle as well, moving up its fact, so moving out 3 times, moving 21 inches directly to get in front of the Big Bopper. Now, while that occurs, of course, the crew of the Big Bopper decides to open fire with their weapons as well. So starting with Tasha XV88, the Badzone Sergeant, opens with his concussion carbine directly into Dirac, the Night Flare, as well as Splinter Mask as well. Now, when they hit him with the concussion carbine, they both get blasted off the back of the Crimson Thorn. But disaster strikes from our friend Lady Domina, because Splinter's Mask gets killed. He instantly gets killed and dead on that one from the concussion blast. So netting additional experience points for the Sergeant, Sergeant Tasha XV88. At the same time, Darko D111, which is the other Enforcer arm of the Enforcer Bolt Gun, opens fire directly into the champion, which his name is Dirac the Night Flare, who's armed with the grenade launcher. Managed to put him out cold as well, so because he goes out of action, he won't make a full recovery because he's just out cold right now, but at the same time, Darko D111 also managed to get a bonus experience point for taking out a champion as well. So first blood going directly to the Badzone Enforcers. Now from there, of course, we then go to the Silver Chain, which is another vehicle that is ran by Lady Domina. It moves up its normal movement allowance, opens fire with its mining laser directly into the Big Bopper, but unfortunately misses its shot. And that makes it the turn 1 activations up to this point. So we'll be back with the rest of it after this. So continuing on with the turn real quick, we have Darrows from my friend Sister Serial. She activates Darrow, who's her Darrows, which is one of her enlisted hive scum. He basically does full throttle, launching himself forward 24 inches on his Racer's dirt bike, moving as quick as he can in order to parallel the Crimson Thorn at the same time. And meanwhile over here, my friend Lady Dama decides to activate Cathanarok the Pain Song. As you see, the crew of the vehicle starts swarming across directly into Thoth, trying to kill him as well. Now, when it was all said and done, the combat was pretty much lackluster over here. Not much really happened. All they do is manage to put 2 flesh wounds directly onto Thoth when it was all said and done after that group activation. Now, from there, of course, we then go back over here to my friend Sister Serial, and I got the names mixed up. This guy is Tasha V88. That's the champion's armed with the sniper rifle. That guy over there is Garavis, the guy who's armed with the concussion carbine. So I do apologize for that. So Tasha V88 takes a basic action, opens fire with their sniper rifle directly into Cathanarok the Pain Song, but misses their shot. So not that much really happens over there. Meanwhile, over here on this side, one of the cultists, that character's name is Creep Hook is the fighter's name. Creep Hook does a double action charge directly and tried to engage close combat into Boyle. Managed to put a flesh wound onto Boyle, but then Boyle, of course, was able to do counterattacks and managed to put this guy out of action as well. Not out of action, put a serious injury onto him, so he's bleeding out right now. Now from there, of course, Sister Cheryl then activates her next fighter. This guy's name is the Punisher Keel. He takes a basic action aim with his combat shotgun, open fire with salvo shots directly into Creep Hook. Managed to put a flesh wound on him, and that's really about it. So he's still currently bleeding out for the most part over there as well. And that pretty much makes up the entirety. Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot these guys over here, the most important part. So my friend Lay Down decides to activate her group activation using these 2 characters for the rest of her turn. Those two characters, of course, are Skarar as well as Revar. They both open up their weapons and manage to hit Gravas, the champion. Managed to put a serious injury onto him, so he's currently on the ground bleeding out, and he fell off the vehicle because he failed his initiative test. And that pretty much makes up the turn for this one. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the end phase. So now we're back for the end phase. As you can see, all the terrain on the table has shifted over 6 inches as well. So you can see all the terrain is pretty much moved over. The only thing that was luckily for us though, this vehicle over here, the March Hare, almost got hit by this piece of terrain, but it barely missed it by half an inch. Same thing over there on the top over there with one of the guys on the vehicles as well as a Crimson Thorn. But for the recovery phase so far though, Creephook actually gets a flesh wound, so because of that, we're going to zoom in real quick. So Creephook makes it get a flesh wound, so he's perfectly fine. So he's got 1 additional flesh wound on him, so he's 2 less than toughness, but he can still fight, still cause problems. At the same time, Gravas, the champion, also makes a flesh wound as well, so he rolls over and he's perfectly fine too. And as you can see, all the terrain has shifted over, so that takes directly the top of turn number 2, and my friends will roll for initiative to see which of them will be going first. We'll be right back after their turn 2 activations. So that takes us back directly to the top of turn number 2, and my friend Sister Serial managed to get the initiative once again. And for her very first activation, she activates the March Hare, which of course does a double movement forward, moving around this corner, making its way directly towards the end of the table, trying to escape from the Helot Chaos Cultists. Now from there, Rack Laces, of course, is next. So my friend Lady Domina activates Rack Laces. Rack Laces tries to throw attacks directly into Boyle, but is unable to do anything, and Boyle, of course, counterattacks, unable to do anything to Rack Laces as well. For my friend Sister Serial's next activation, she then activates Boyle, then does an attack with his flail directly back into the Chaos Spawn, but unfortunately wasn't able to do anything back to him, and Rack Laces did nothing with his reactionary attacks. Now from there, my friend Lady Donna then does a group activation real quick with her Witch. That character's name, of course, being, let me look at the Kalisa, the Hitherblade. Once again, does a basic action to activate with Dark Shield, giving everyone around her their +1 to their movement, +1 to the armor save. And at the same time, does open fire with their auto pistol, hitting 3 times directly into this hired scum. That guy's name is Azmat. Managed to put a serious injury on him, so he's currently down bleeding on the ground right now. And then from there, my friend Lady Donna then activates Creephook. Creephook gets back on his feet again, and also does a coup de grace real fast, directly attacking him real quick into Boyle. Managed to put a feebling injury on him, so because that Boyle does go directly into the recovery, and he's also 1 less toughness as well. And that pretty much makes up the turn 1 activations over here. So that being said, we'll come back for the rest of the turn activations. So coming back for the rest of the turn, let's go and talk about what ended up happening over here. So first of all, Cathanarok the Pain Song does a group activation with his fighters, and he managed to finish off this fighter, Amon. Managed to put him out with a grievous injury, so because Amon does go to recovery, and he will not be able to participate in his next battle report as well. The rest of the gang actually loads up directly onto the vehicle, so that way they can continue on causing all kinds of chaos and pain. Meanwhile, probably the most dramatic thing that took place was over here. I'm sorry, that guy's name was Foth. I do apologize. That's his name. Foth is his name. Now, at the same time, Darrows, which is this character over here, Darrows actually does a basic action and throws a blasting charge directly into the Crimson Thorn. Managed to hit with a blasting charge and also cause it to swerve as well because he hit it. And makes it lose 2 hull points at exactly the same time. And then he rockets across the battlefield with his maximum lumen allowance using his wasted dirt bike in order to get away as well. Meanwhile, over here, what ended up happening for this activation over here is that Gravas, I think is his name, that's the sergeant, Garavas. The sergeant's armed with a concussion carbine, gets back on his feet again and loads the vehicle, and also moves into this area here. And then finally, probably the most important thing was Tasha XV88 takes a basic action aim with their sniper rifle. Another basic action to shoot directly into Rack Laces. Managed to hit the Chaos Spot and put it out of action as well. So that part was all kinds of epic from our friend Sister Serial too. And that pretty much makes up turn number 2 on this one so far. We'll be right back with the rest of the activations. Alright, so that takes directly the rest of the actions of turn number 2 real quick. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, the Crimson Thorn, of course, maneuvers forward, taking 2 simple movements in order to turn and strand itself and then move itself directly in between the buildings as well as this overpass. Meanwhile, back over here, the yellow vehicle, that's one's calling the Silver Chains. The Silver Chains moves up its normal movement allowance, its maximum movement allowance, so that way it gets within 3 inches for boarding actions. And as you can see, the crew of the vehicle also decided to board up. So let's go and talk about what ended up happening first. So Revar, the Helot Cultist, charges directly into Darko D111. Managed to do close combo with him. Managed to put him out of action with an out cold result. So just like that, earned another victory for my friends Lady Domina. And meanwhile, over here in the back, over here, Gravas, as well as the other fighter named Skirak, they're still completely in close combat. And that pretty much makes up the turn for this one. So with turn number 2 over with, we go directly to the end phase. So now we're back with the end phase, and as you can see, the terrain has shifted over to the left-hand side, bringing up some of our new terrain pieces over here on this side of the battlefield, as it keeps on going across the way. And meanwhile, when it comes to recovery roll, of course, we have this fighter over here on the back of the bike. I believe that guy's name is Asmat or something like that. Anyways, that fighter actually makes flesh wound, so now that person's recovered, and they also got a flesh wound as well. So that being said, that takes directly to the top of turn number 3, and my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. We'll be right back after this. So now we're back for the top of turn number 3, and once again, my friend Cicero got the initiative on this one. So the first thing she does, of course, is she takes the March Hare, which is her medium vehicle, and decides to go full throttle, moving up directly 3 times, removing allowance directly into the center of the battlefield as well. Now from there, my friend Lady Dawa then takes the Crimson Thorn, and actually has to move a double action before moving forward. And the reason why that is the case is because on this one, for this round, they have Ash Crust on the battlefield, which means they can move less than 8 inches, the vehicle will fall through and take lasting damage. So everyone's going to be trying to move as quick as they possibly can in this battle, as you could probably imagine. So because of the Crimson Thorn does move up over here, but what ends up happening is that my friend Cicero then activates Daros. Daros moves up his normal movement allowance of 8 inches because he's on a Waster's dirt bike, and he throws another blasting charge in it, getting a penetrating hit directly on the engine and causes another hull damage point to go on it. It's only got 3 hull points, so because it does explode, and it also suffers an unreliable lasting injury. So they roll up to see if this vehicle actually works at the beginning of each turn, and the crew member on board actually suffers an alcohol result. Meanwhile, over here, in the middle of the table, Lady Dama then activates Ravar was his name, which is the Chaos Cultist, who decides to charge directly into the back of Tasha VX XV88. Flub's attack roll, so not much really happened. Tasha XV88 does return attacks and actually puts him out of action with an out cold result. And that pretty much makes up the activations so far for turn number 3. So we'll be right back with the rest of the activations. So we're back now for the rest of the turn number 3 activations. As you can see, not much really happened in terms of combat for the most part. Mainly just people just moving as quick as they possibly can, try to get directly off of the edge of the battlefield, just because no one wants to drop directly to the edge of it. So as you can see over here, first of all, the March here actually does a full throttle forward, moving up 3 times in normal movement allowance in order to escape out of the way, and that way it doesn't fall through the crust too much. So that's where it's located at now. At the same time, combat over here is taking place on the Big Bopper between Tasha, the XV88, as well as this cultist, and nothing much really happens there. They just kind of float their attack rolls for the most part, so they're on the run. At the same time, as you can see, the rest of the Chaos Cultists now are giving chase. Pretty much what ended up happening for most of the turns, that fighters were dismounted, mounted back on the vehicles, and then they just moved up their double moon allowance, so that way they don't fall to the Ash Crest as well. At the same time, this fighter here, the hired Hive Scum, managed to get back on his feet and just did a normal move forward with his 8 inches, so no vehicles are falling to the ground at this point for the Ash Crest, as we make our way directly to the end phase. So with that being said, we go directly to the end phase of turn number 3. So we're now back for the end phase for turn number 3, and as you can see, all the terrain has shifted downward directly towards the trailing edge for the most part. We also have some terrain popping up on the other side here, primarily just hedgehogs as well as Hesco barriers, but for the most part, no one has to really roll for injuries or anything like that, because everyone who was out of action earlier just got back on their feet again. The only thing that's really decorating the battlefield right now is this vehicle over here, as it's currently on fire and it's currently a wreck. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4, and once again my friends roll off initiative to see which of them will be going first. So now we're back at the top of turn number 4, and once again my friend Cicero managed to get the initiative on this one. So her very first activation, she activates the March Hare, which of course goes full throttle once again, rocketing forward 3 times movement allowance and goes directly to the edge of the table, which pretty much ends the game real fast just because it's made it to the end and it basically went to go drop off its cargo load, as the rest of the vehicles are stubbornly trying to come and try to catch up to it. So that being said, that pretty much ends this game, so we're going to go directly to the after action report, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for Anarchy Road Season 2 battle report number 9, and starting off with my friendly Dominant and her gang, the Flesh Carnival, the Helot Chaos Cultist. Unfortunately, she lost this battle, so let's talk about exactly what happened to her gang. For injury, she suffered quite a bit on this one. Dirac, the Night Flayer, the champion, got an alcohol result, same thing with Var, as well as racked laces. Splintered Mask, the cultist, however, ended up being dead, so because of that, they were were eliminated off the roster. And Crimson Thorn, which is one of the vehicles, the crew member got an out cold result, so he's perfectly fine, but the vehicle suffered a lasting damage with unreliable. So because that, she'll need to roll up to see if this vehicle can actually participate in the next battle report. She rolls a 1, it doesn't happen. For the Dark Ritual, Khalil of the Raptures, the specialist, was actually chosen as the vessel, and they managed to get that one off successfully. So Khalil of the Raptures earns 5+ experience points, at the same time also gaining the favor of Slanesh, which means that once per turn they can activate 2 fighters. And for the advancements on this one, Khalil of the Raptors leveled to level 1, earning +1 to their toughness and increasing their value by 30 credits. At the same time, from their territories, from the Chimeric's Caves, they earn 9 credits from that, and from the Helot's Path, they also earn another 7 credits from that. They earn 16 credits in total, and my friend Lady Now decided to put them all directly into her stash. For reputation, she got 1 point reputation from her territories, which brings her grand total of 2 points in total. Her new record now is at 0 wins and 2 losses, and her new game rate now is at 2,460 points. So moving on to my friend Cicerial and her gang, the main force patrol. So let's go and talk about what happened to them. For injuries, Dargo D111, the Enforcer, actually got the out cold results. They're perfectly fine. Meanwhile, her 2 Hive Scum Boyle suffered an enfeebling injury, -1 to his toughness and goes to recovery. And Foth, which is the other one, also suffers a grievous injury and goes to recovery as well. Now for advancements, no members of her gang did advance at this time. However, she did manage to score 7 credits from the Near Reaches, one of her territories, and she managed to capture the Far Reachers as well, giving her 7 credits from that. And with the Near Reaches and the Far Reaches, that gives her the Desperation Pass trade route. Now if you're wondering if Desperation Pass trade route is not official trade route, we actually made that up for my gaming group, but we talked about that earlier in a video of mine earlier, talking about how we changed up the trade routes a little bit and how we added actually more to our campaign. So because of that, she'll be able to earn 3d6 times 10 credits every time she activates with that trade route, and this time she scored 70 credits from that. And from the Shimmer Falls, her last road section, she got 7 credits from that. Now from the trading post, she got 91 credits from her territories, as well as combined with 130 credits from the scenario, gave her 221 credits in total. With those 220 credits, she purchased body spikes, smoke launchers, plasma coil engines, as well as large transport cages for the Big Bopper and the March Air for a combined total of 210 credits. She then took those transport beds as well as smoke vents and placed it directly into her stash, and she took her 11 remaining credits and put it in her stash as well. Now for reputation, she earned 3 points of reputation from the scenario, as well as 1 reputation from her territories, giving her a grand total of 8 reputation in total. Her new record now is at 1 win and 1 loss, and her new game rate now is at 2,545 points. So there you guys have it. That's good for this one. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.